I'm Pete Rizzo, editor-at-large at Kraken, the best place to buy and sell Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and I'm your host for this special edition Kraken live stream. To discuss today's trending topics, I'm joined by Artur Sapek, founder of Cryptowatch, a Kraken-owned premium trading terminal that provides real-time market data and trading services for the crypto markets. Artur will be joining us shortly to discuss his outlook on Bitcoin and the crypto market. But first, some data highlights from our Kraken intelligence report, latest Kraken intelligence report. Why did the crypto market surge for the month of November? Our analysts highlighted three key reasons. First, all-time highs, favorable technicals, fundamentals, and outspoken support from institutional investors pushed Bitcoin's price to a new all-time high. Then above 19,000, today, of course, above 20,000, and trading volume reached 86 billion, also a new high. Next, smart money moving. Wallets holding more than 100 Bitcoin accumulated over 56,000 Bitcoin over the course of November's trading. This suggested that many smart money investors were seeing more upside ahead. Finally, stablecoins. An increase in stablecoin use in November appears as if it's been driven by an outflow of Bitcoin from many major exchanges. The increase in activity was an indication to our analysts that new demand was entering the crypto market, a sign that adoption was set to continue into 2021. So once again, you can download that latest report, A New Era, on Kraken.com and access more free Kraken intelligence. Now our guest. Welcome, Artur.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me on.
And of course, historic occasion. I'd like to start with your reaction. Bitcoin above $20,000, depending on the price index you use, perhaps for the first time. Give us your take.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy to watch almost exactly 3 years after the 2017 high, where we teased the $20,000 range but didn't really break into it. Now, almost exactly 3 years later, we're smashing through 20K and almost hit 21 already. Obviously, things have changed a lot in the crypto world in 3 years. So we'll see what happens next. But so far, it looks like there's a lot of momentum, and we're pretty much in uncharted territory on every exchange at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots to unpack there. So about 20,600 or so dollars now. Not a huge difference from where we were a few weeks ago when we were at 19.8 thousand per Bitcoin. I guess for listeners out there, what's the significance of being above 20K? Does it matter to the market?
I mean, I think it'll matter to retail. It's just a psychological milestone where you no longer have a 1 in front of the price, you have a 2. It's just like a whole new level for Bitcoin. And I imagine that this is just like very headline worthy action. You're going to see a lot of like CNBC about this.
Mm-hmm. So you're expecting this will trigger some increased attention from the mainstream, and it's just a psychological barrier for people who maybe aren't paying attention or haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just something you can easily tell someone that, oh, 20,000, like it's just like a kind of a catchy event, I guess. In percentage terms, you're right that over the last 3 weeks, we've moved a little bit, but it's people, especially retail, I think, just think in these, like, I guess, simpler terms about the price.
Certainly setting the tone for 2021, perhaps. Wanted to drill down into the Cryptowatch tool, which you have up in the corner of the screen, to ask the question of what happens to an asset when it, like Bitcoin, hits new all-time highs, right? So I think this is, something maybe in the traditional markets people don't see as much. Assets moving into a period where there is no trading history. If you're a trader right now and you're looking at the Bitcoin charts, what are you going off of? Curious to hear your take.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best ways to look at price volume over time is a volume at price or a volume profile tool like we have up here. So on the right side, you can see bars representing total volume at each price level going up the y-axis. And this basically represents like where Bitcoin has spent most of its time trading. And obviously, if you look at the price chart, it pretty much corresponds to this range that it's been in for the last 3 years.
That's a historical volume average for each price point.
Yeah, it's like a volume sum for each price level, basically. And then this is going back 3 years to the last all-time high. So you can see that around, I don't know how easy it is to see 12,000 something is where we kind of entered very thin trading territory, like where there has not been a lot of volume. And now obviously at 20K, we're at all-time high. So there's no, you know, previous trading volume at this level.
Mm. What's a contrast for that? Is there another asset where we can pull up where maybe the volume history looks a little bit different and there's something to kind of compare really how rarefied the air in Bitcoin is right now?
I mean, we could look at like XRP, which also has been popping, but
Mm.
obviously has not gone as high as it was in 2017. So here you can see a similar view. I guess I'd have to zoom in to really see a better view of this, but yeah, if you compare this to the Bitcoin spike relative to 2017, which is right here, you know, XRP is quite low. I think this is the case for a lot of the other cryptos. A lot of them have been following Bitcoin, like Ethereum has been doing quite well, but I believe that Bitcoin is the only one that has broken its previous all-time high at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. So I think using the Cryptowatch platform so we can get a look, you can see the historical volume. Any other tools or things that you'd recommend that traders looking at Bitcoin now dive into?
Well, I could start by just showing a couple more things on the web platform. We have, obviously, we have this charting interface that we've been developing for years. We also have a trading interface that's integrated with it. It's something we call visual trading. So I can actually execute orders on Kraken through this interface and visualize what my trades, where my trades are happening, where my orders are open relative to the price chart. So this is kind of one of the killer features of Cryptowatch is you can go back in time and see your performance, you know, in context of the price history, which mine is, you know, often pretty bad. But you know, ideally you've got buys at the bottom and sells at the top of each price move. But yeah, so I could just demo really quickly, like market buying a little bit of Bitcoin right here.
Sure.
So in the order ticket, I'm able to put in a quantity that I'm trying to buy. Obviously, I can choose order type, side, and my leverage level. And then I'm already getting like visual feedback on the chart. I can see where where my buy is at relative to maybe my other open orders down here or my margin position that I've got open, which is up, I guess, 8% right now. So I can confirm, and just like that, I've got a trade.
Oh.
You know, so you can get visual input and visual output on basically everything you're doing. You can click on the chart to set the price. So a lot of people will look at resistance levels and maybe or support levels, and they'll put a buy like right underneath the support level, like that.
Right. I think my next question was going to be obviously Cryptowatch, you can make buys through the platform. Also a great tool for analyzing asset history. If you're a new trader just coming to Bitcoin today, how would you use this tool to size up the market?
I mean, you can start by just looking at the market on a high level. We've got our homepage just shows you, you know, the top traded assets, and this changes in real time. So maybe on a given day, Chainlink might be up here, might not be, depending on what's going on with it. And you might see some new coins popping up. Like I don't even know what Elrond is, but I did notice this one yesterday showing up. So you can kind of see like what's hot in the markets with this page. And then by clicking on any of these, you can drill right into a technical chart. And this is really where the meat of the product is. If you set up an account, you can trade for free simply by connecting to your accounts on exchanges. So like Binance, Kraken, Bitfinex, Coinbase Pro are all supported. There's I think almost a dozen supported exchanges now. So at that point, I mean, you need to be onboarded with those exchanges, and then at that point, you can use our visual trading tool to. In my opinion, it's like a more intuitive interface, basically for trading that kind of combines the power of a technical chart and the power of an exchange. order
Mm.
ticket into one.
Yeah, very powerful tool, of course. Wanted to talk a little bit about the broader crypto markets. You pulled up that screen about the top performers. Curious to get your take on entering 2021. Obviously, it seems that Bitcoin just has no shortage of momentum, which I think is a word you used at the beginning, which really describes that market. The rest of the cryptocurrency market, not so much. Still down 30% all-time highs in aggregate. What's the trader sentiment, in your opinion, on cryptocurrencies in general?
I mean, if you look at the news, Bitcoin is really the one capturing most of the headlines. I think Bitcoin being the first, being the oldest, and with the longest reputation, will be the first to be adopted by institutions. But you're going to see a lot of these other assets follow soon after. I mean, just today, the CME announced in February they're launching Ethereum futures contract,
Right.
which
Big
will be the
news.
second. Yeah, that's huge news for crypto. So that's, again, Ethereum has always kind of been number two to Bitcoin, or not always, but for several years now. So yeah, like the institutional buy-in is going to lag behind what the degens are doing, but I think in general you're going to see a lot of these other assets follow Bitcoin's lead, and Bitcoin is simply just in the lead.
How do you describe the opportunity that other cryptocurrencies provide? Right. I think we've gotten good at explaining Bitcoin as a store of value, a hedge against gold, a hedge against macro uncertainty. What's your elevator pitch at this point for other cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I tend to just stick to Bitcoin personally, but I know that for Ethereum and a lot of these other up and coming assets, it's like DeFi. It's kind of the hot term these days. So Ethereum's like the world's computer. I think it's a lot easier to sell this vision of like digital gold. It's a lot simpler than basically with Ethereum and Chainlink and all these other platforms where you're building contracts on top of them. Like there's a whole other step of like building useful things on top of them in order for them to become valuable. So excuse me. I just think that with Bitcoin versus these other assets, it's just a simpler sell and simpler story to tell.
Mm,
I guess we'll see how all these other assets pan out and whether DeFi does eat the world that like a lot of people are claiming it will, sort of like how software ate the world.
mm.
So this is what they see as the next step. But just because of that building phase, I think there's just a lot more time we have to wait in order to see how it pans out.
Right. I think that's focusing on the fundamentals too. Obviously, Cryptowatch caters to traders, and I think cryptocurrencies as an asset class, still have a strong value proposition for traders for other reasons, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, traders just look for volatility and volume and liquidity, right? So um, that's basically what this homepage is showing right now is what are the most useful assets for trading because it's sorted by volume, and so you can kind of just conclude that um, the you know there's a combination of reputation and then like recent hype. So like Litecoin, there's not really much hype about Litecoin these days. It's not really much changing with Litecoin, but it's been around for a while. There's a lot of it out there. And so there's enough liquidity there that it's still like a highly traded asset.
Mm,
Versus like XRP, there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of rumors about XRP right now, and so there's sort of a lot of recent hype. Ethereum, obviously, with Ethereum 2 has been in the news a lot as well, and I think with Bitcoin, it's actually more just like the long-standing reputation that's driving the volume behind it, and not like recent changes or news. There's really Bitcoin's pretty stable these days. There's really not much development happening in terms of like the underlying protocol or
mm.
the underlying asset.
Yeah, I'm curious. You mentioned 2017. Obviously, CryptoWatch's been around for a long time. How have you thought about how has your thinking on the product changed over time? Is it still you're building to the same vision you're finding, or do you think you've adapted to how people are using the product?
The original vision for Cryptowatch was just like an open and free charting platform. We didn't badger you to create an account, to pay for simple things like having multiple technical analysis tools open at once. Um, the vision sort of evolved from there into more of a trader focused tool. It was always used by traders, but order execution is now our primary concern with regards to new feature development. So we recently have been adding a lot of functionality to the website where now you can trade through FTX, for example. This was a recent addition. Um, and then another tool we recently launched called Cryptowatch Desktop will soon also be getting a trading interface and more of an advanced trading interface as well.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Would love to dive into that. Your outlook for 2021 and anything that you might be able to tease on the roadmap, or just speaking to the general thinking about the product.
Yeah, I could switch to the other window here really quick and show desktop. So this is Cryptowatch Desktop. This was launched about 2 months ago. And what it is more of a modular, flexible interface for building, building your own views of the market. So one of Cryptowatch's key selling points is it's an aggregator. It ties into many venues, trading venues. And so you can, as a trader, or even just as a market watcher / investor, you can build up really complicated boards of different modules that all print in real time market data from, basically most of the top venues, Binance, Bitfinex, Coinbase, Kraken. We support, I think, 20 something venues. And so you can open, I'll just create a new board really quick.
Cool.
And show you how this works.
See, it's named after me.
Yeah, I'll keep this one in here. So you start off with an empty screen and you have different module types. So say I want to look at a candle chart of Bitcoin. That's pretty easy. I can just decide candle chart, Kraken, BTC, USD. Here I can search for BTC, USD across all the venues supported. So we've got quite a bit of them. Say maybe I wanted to watch Coinbase. It's pretty easy to just switch over. And the really killer app with this thing is that you can build a layout. So you can split any module and build a grid, and you can drag things around as well. So here, maybe I can open a candle chart on Bitcoin, on Kraken, and on Coinbase. And then down here, maybe I can put up the time and sales for each of these two.
Yeah, maybe you could take us through. So how might somebody use this module to then sort of execute a trade? Really, you're looking for the differences in the markets, each of these platforms on a small level, right?
Yeah, here you can look at multiple markets for the same asset, or you could maybe you could build a wall of Kraken markets across several different assets. One thing we're also building is the ability to group. This is not released yet, but this is basically, I can assign a number to a module, and then every module with that number, say number 1, will share that market. So with this, I can build a layout where I can quickly scan across, like you're saying, multiple venues or multiple assets. And if I I could build a layout that has an order book, and a time and sales feed. So there I can start getting, some nice kind of power user usability here, where I can quickly scan, I think 6,000 plus markets now is what we support on the site. So we have a lot of feeds, and those will actually be rapidly expanding soon as well, into new venues. But yeah,
very cool, exciting stuff. And yeah, it's progressed. I remember when I started in crypto in 2013, certainly nothing like it on the market back then, and I would say not much like it now in terms of offering the features that you guys have assembled. So credit to you guys.
Thanks.
So I guess sorry, as kind of a last topic, I wanted to dive in some future predictions and forecasts for the year ahead. So I guess as you look at 2021, what do you think is going to be most different about the cryptocurrency market 12 months from now?
I think the recent change has been all this institutional investment, and even if you look at what the CFTC has been saying, there's a lot of like governments and central banks talking about adopting this technology. So that's probably going to lead the narrative for the next year.
Interesting. Yeah, been no shortage of new institutional names popping up. Certainly, a lot of people to learn. I guess what would be your biggest worry for the year ahead if you had to say, looking at the crypto markets over the next 12 months, knowing that how you've seen it develop over the last several years? Is there anything that's that's your big worry for the next year?
I mean, personally, and I think a lot of people are worried about uh, government regulation coming from regulators who don't understand what they're working with. So Steve Mnuchin, there's been a lot of like fear, uncertainty, and doubt about what he's been saying recently. I'm not too worried about him in particular, but I do worry that the people in the government are just probably not. Well, they definitely don't have the libertarian ideals that a lot of crypto people do. So there's already this like sort of fundamental disagreement about what's important. But then I'm also worried about the tech like being oversimplified to them or just misunderstood and then overregulated or incorrectly regulated to the point where it stifles like innovation or adoption and kind of just kills it.
Right.
Or
Certainly,
just
we've seen some of that with the Stable Act recently. And I know Jesse,
yeah,
our CEO, has commented on that. Um,
yeah.
what's one under the radar development from 2020 that you think is just going to be a big deal on 2021?
Um,
Or
I
maybe
think
something that you
that
think is overhyped? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, under the radar, I do think that these central bank digital currencies are actually not being covered as much as they should be.
Hmm.
Um, and it does seem like all of this stimulus package discussion and the coronavirus economic impact, Build Back Better,
Mm.
Joe Biden's campaign slogan or whatever his new administration slogan. I think that that's involving crypto more than most people realize.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's not all confirmed, but I do think that's something to watch in the next, several months as Joe Biden takes office.
So regulatory activity under the radar could be big next year. I guess final question: do you have a bold prediction for next year? Anything you'd like to share? Where back of your mind you've been thinking about? I haven't said it before, but this is my bold prediction for 2021.
Um, I don't know. Crypto people make a lot of bold predictions, so I don't know if there's anything left unsaid. uh, it's what I really think is important is for the government and private companies to just work together well. I think exchanges staying online and continuing to be fiat rails is key to the sort of this economic transition succeeding.
Mm.
Um, but I also think, similarly to how in space travel recently, NASA's been working with SpaceX and they've become friends and they actually collaborate.
Mm.
I think there's a lot of people pushing for that in the financial space as well. And I just hope that becomes as big as it seems like it's going to, and that it's a symbiotic relationship the way that, for example, space travel has been this year.
Right, right. Always concerned about administrative changes and how that'll work, and certainly with a new technology like crypto, that and Bitcoin, which is an innovation, right, a technical innovation that I think people have been trying to understand for years. Taken me a long time. I think will take anybody a long time to learn about Bitcoin. Artur, where can people get more information about Cryptowatch, and how do they sign up?
Yeah, you could just Google Cryptowatch. It's just cryptowatch.ch, the domain name, or cryptowatch.com will take you there. And it's free to sign up, free to create an account, free to trade. Yeah, it's a powerful tool, and I encourage people to try it out and let us know what they think.
Well, thanks, Artur. This has been a special edition Kraken live stream commemorating Bitcoin above 20K for the first time ever. I'm Pete Rizzo, editor at large at Kraken. You can find more great Kraken content across our social platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, Twitter, and more. We'll see you next time. Until then, happy trading.